Celebrities often deal with relentless paparazzi and plenty of unwanted behaviors, ranging from overzealous fans to more alarming encounters with dangerous stalkers. Their privacy is frequently compromised, with bold admirers pushing boundaries and, in extreme cases, endangering their safety. Unfortunately, incidents of obsessive fan behavior, stalking, and sometimes crimes are often more common than we realize. While having fans is a big part of being famous, it crosses a disturbing line when they show up at their house, and in some cases, break in. Numerous celebrities have shared frightening stories about crazy fans who took their love for them way too far. In the early 2000s, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas faced a stalker named Dawnette Knight. After obsessing over Michael from watching his films, especially Fatal Attraction, Knight began sending Catherine over 20 threatening letters, incited by tabloid rumors of an affair. Reports indicate she even called Catherine's representatives and hotels where the couple was staying. In one letter, Knight threatened to dismember Catherine and feed her to dogs if she didn't leave Michael. In her victim impact statement, Catherine said, "This woman is not mentally ill. She is simply evil. She clearly articulated a plan to take my life," adding, "You have profoundly affected me in how I conduct my life. I will be constantly observing, looking over my shoulder." Following her no contest plea in 2005, Dawnette Knight received a 3-year prison sentence, but was given credit for 600 days served, which means she was only in state prison for about 7 months. More recently, Kristen Cavallari, who gained fame from MTV shows like Laguna Beach and The Hills, disclosed an experience with a stalker who tracked her to her gym, enrolled in her classes, and vandalized her car by slashing her tires. Her trainer reportedly warned her, saying, "This person keeps asking about you," and offered to pay to have you attend a party. One day, after avoiding him inside the gym, the man followed her as she drove away, calling out, "You have a flat tire." Cavallari recalled, "My flat tire sensor then went off, so he knew I had a flat tire before my car even did." She ended up hiring a private investigator who identified the stalker as David Berkowitz, which then led to a restraining order. Cavallari later recounted on her Let's Be Honest podcast that he was married with kids and begged her not to file a restraining order. She basically responded by saying, "You were stalking me at my gym and gave me a flat tire. To what? Save the day?" In 2016, Miranda Cosgrove, who starred in the Nickelodeon series iCarly, found herself with a couple stalkers. The first was in 2014, and after sending her unsolicited gifts and threatening suicide, Cosgrove filed a restraining order against him. He was then arrested for violating that order and was sentenced to 3 years probation. In 2016, another stalker took his obsession to even more dangerous lengths.
This guy was actually in my backyard, pacing back and forth in my backyard. He was burying things, knives and like a rope. He set himself on fire and he shot himself. It was right in my front yard.
This guy found out where she lived and then shot at a woman outside the house who resembled Cosgrove. He then set himself on fire and shot himself outside her home. Cosgrove continues to live in that very house, but shared that it took her a long time to stay there alone. On June 8, 2014, Sandra Bullock was awakened by a loud banging in her Los Angeles home. Alone, she locked her bedroom door and immediately called 911. The intruder, Joshua Corbett, seemed aware of her location and pounded on her bedroom door. Upon his arrest, police found a notepad with diary-like entries detailing his obsession, including disturbing references to sexual violence. Security footage revealed he had been loitering outside her house 3 days prior. Corbett was convicted and sentenced to 5 years probation, but he died by suicide in 2018 after another confrontation with law enforcement. In 1982, actress Theresa Saldana, who is known for her roles in Raging Bull and the TV series The Commish, was attacked by her stalker in front of her Hollywood home in broad daylight. Arthur Richard Jackson was an obsessed fan from Scotland who used a private investigator to find out her mother's phone number and ultimately her address. Jackson confronted the actress and stabbed her 10 times with a hunting knife, but she survived. She spent months recovering and later became an advocate for stalking victims. After Jackson spent 14 years in prison for the attempted murder, he was extradited to the UK, where he continued sending threatening letters to Saldana and was eventually committed to a psychiatric hospital where he remained until his death in 2004. George Harrison and his wife Olivia endured a very traumatic home invasion on December 30th, 1999, when Michael Abram broke into their home outside London, claiming he was commanded by God to kill George. He ended up stabbing Harrison over 40 times before Olivia could intervene, somehow fighting off Abram until the police arrived. The couple both made a full recovery, and Abram would be found not guilty by an insanity plea. He spent just 19 months in a psychiatric hospital before he was released back into society. At a 2023 New York City event, Drew Barrymore was confronted by a man identified online as Chad Michael Busto, who rushed the stage while she interviewed actress Renee Rapp.
Social media video from the event's live stream shows Drew and Renee being escorted away as security surrounded the man to block him from getting any closer.
The incident was captured on video and circulated widely on TikTok, showing Drew's initial friendly response, turning to confusion as Busto claimed, "You know who I am." Security quickly intervened, and Renee and Drew left the stage. Busto was arrested a few days later after he was found going door to door looking for Drew Barrymore's home. He was ordered to stay away from Barrymore, but was later arrested when he showed up at a New York Fashion Week event, demanding to see actress Emma Watson. In 2015, Taylor Swift faced some extreme stalking from a man named Frank Hoover, who sent threatening letters to her father, vowing to kill her family and calling himself the real Son of God. He was arrested in 2016, and Hoover received 10 years probation for his actions. More recently, in 2024, another alleged stalker who had made social media threats against the singer and her boyfriend Travis Kelce showed up at one of her concerts in Germany before he was arrested. Authorities insisted that there was never any danger to the singer because he was detained prior to the concert. The man was taken into custody and held until Taylor Swift had finished out her German tour dates a few days later. Swift has also had other stalkers arrested outside her New York City house in recent years. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and please consider subscribing and sharing Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. As always, thank you so much for watching.